Hello, welcome to English with Mrs. Smith, providing tips and tools to gain top marks for English. In this series of videos, we're focusing on writing skills, particularly writing to describe, with 7 steps to success. Remember to frequently check the assessment objectives for writing. You want to try and combine all the requirements. In this particular video, we are focusing on ways to organise and structure ideas for deliberate effect. The first step for any composition, any writing task, is the initial brainstorm. Once you've gathered together ideas, you can select, sequence and structure the selected points. Step 3 in writing to describe is show, not tell. Some students insist they have no time to plan. They want to start writing straight away, make it up as they go along and write as much as possible, and sometimes they will achieve a good mark. Stop. Think about it. Brainstorm for just a few moments, select your best ideas and organise them. The quality of your writing will be better, and so will your mark. During the brainstorm, focus on the question and start gathering together ideas. You're looking for ways to engage the interest of your reader. You want to put together as many points so that you can then select the best, put them into an effective sequence and structure them. You're trying to convey a particular mood or atmosphere. In your descriptive writing, you may need to convey a mood that's very serene, tranquil, relaxed, or something more energetic, perhaps a celebration. You may be trying to convey a sense of fear and anxiety, or an atmosphere full of menace, something sinister. There are so many details you might include. That's why you need to brainstorm. Select your very best ideas, combine and organise those into an effective structure. There is no way to know exactly which prompts are going to appear in your exam paper. However, looking at past papers, there are 3 popular prompts for descriptive writing which have appeared frequently. The first asks you to describe spending time in a waiting room. What will the mood be like in a waiting room? Could depend on the type of waiting room you choose to describe. Perhaps the waiting room of a doctor, a dentist, an interview, or perhaps the room outside the principal's office. What these all have in common is that there would be a sense of anticipation, nervousness, which you would want to convey in your description. Using the waiting room as our example, how can you convey that sense of anxiety or even panic in your description? How can you show nervousness or fear without telling your reader, I felt really nervous? This is what we mean by show, not tell. The setting is a waiting room. Whenever we have to wait, we are conscious of time. How could you show this in your description? Frequent glances at a watch, repeatedly checking the time on the phone. And what about including a clock? Most waiting rooms have one. So that our description doesn't become a narrative, we want to limit the time frame to no more than a few minutes. For a person in the waiting room, even 3 minutes can feel never-ending. Perhaps the sound of a clock ticking could add to the sense of anxiety. The second hands may appear to be racing ahead or moving very slowly. Okay, now what else can you do to show nervousness? Have you ever noticed it's difficult to sit still when we're nervous about something? In a waiting room, this could mean fidgeting in the chair, moving around, perhaps taking a closer look at pictures or posters or brochures that would not normally interest you. We might try to read, but it's difficult to focus when we're anxious, so we flick through pages without reading them. Perhaps there are other people in the waiting room. You might notice something about them. Tuneless whistling, tapping fingers, nervous clearing of the throat, or even nibbling fingernails. They may look terrified themselves, or in pain. They may seem upset, foreshadowing what may lie ahead. Structure and sequence should be for deliberate effect, so think about how to open with immediate impact. To introduce the idea of the waiting room and a sense of nervousness, let's have a look at this sample opening sentence. The clock on the wall foretells my fate. 3 precious minutes, a countdown to imminent doom. Your goal is to create a series of paragraphs, each with a very clear focus. In this particular example, following the opening sentence, the focus remains on the clock and time passing by. An ominous tick echoes my racing heartbeat. Transfixed, I watch helplessly as the hands sweep away another 20 seconds, as inconsequential particles of my life consign to oblivion. Now, only 2 minutes and 40 seconds remain. How you end the description is as important as how you begin, so make sure you include that in the initial brainstorm. For example, in this situation, it makes sense to have time run out. The wait is over. My eyes are drawn inevitably back to the clock. Unstoppable and disinterested in my suffering, the hands march on as my stomach twists into a tight knot. I cannot breathe. I am faintly aware that a disembodied voice is announcing my name, an anonymous summons. Like a robot, I rise and somehow cross the room to the designated door. Time up. In part 2 of the 7 steps to success, we're going to shift our focus to the second prompt, the city street. And here we're going to look at the importance of including specific details. We're also going to explore the importance of camera technique and how you can apply that. In part 3, our focus shifts to the third prompt, the railway station. We're going to think about the use of all of our senses, as well as how we can incorporate figurative language, in particular, the extended metaphor. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment in the box down below. And if there are any topics you'd like me to cover in a future video, leave the comment. See you next time on English with Mrs. Smith.